The air hung heavy with the premonition of rain, the silence punctuated by the distant rumble of thunder. A chill wind whispered through the trees, rustling leaves like whispers of secrets best left untold. A lone figure stood on the porch, silhouetted against the stormy sky, the flickering porch light casting long, dancing shadows. Carol Suar clutched a faded photograph, her knuckles white against the worn edges. It depicted a time of joy, a lifetime ago, when the world seemed full of promise. The man in the picture, James, stood tall and proud in his military uniform, his eyes sparkling with love and a hint of the trepidation he felt about leaving for a distant war. Carol, young and radiant, beamed back at him, her own eyes reflecting his love and mirroring his unspoken fears. The photograph had been taken just days before his deployment, a poignant memento of their last moments together before their lives were irrevocably altered. The storm broke, fat raindrops splattering on the wooden floorboards, each drop a hammer blow against Carol's raw heart. Her memories, vivid and painful, returned with the ferocity of the downpour. The joy of their early years together, the agony of his absence, the bittersweet relief of his return, and the crushing blow of Tiffany's disappearance, all came flooding back, threatening to drown her in a sea of grief. As lightning split the sky, illuminating the world in a stark, unforgiving light, Carol made a silent vow. She would find the truth behind Tiffany's disappearance. She would face the storm that had engulfed her family, no matter how dark and dangerous the path to justice might be. The photograph trembled in her hand, a reminder of the love she fought for, a love that even the darkest shadows couldn't extinguish. The photograph, now safely tucked away, whispered of a time long past, a time of youthful dreams and innocent love. James and Carol had met in the heart of summer, the air thick with the scent of honeysuckle and the promise of forever. Their love had been the kind that storybooks romanticized, passionate and all-consuming, a whirlwind of stolen glances, shy smiles, and whispered promises. They had spent their days lost in their own world, oblivious to the passage of time and the complexities of life beyond their bubble of love. Picnics by the lake where the sun turned the water into a shimmering emerald were filled with laughter and shared dreams. Evenings spent at the drive-in, snuggled close under a star-studded sky, were imbued with the magic of first love. James, with his easy charm and infectious grin, had swept Carol off her feet. He was everything she had ever wanted, strong, kind, and with a heart as big as the Texas sky. Carol, with her quiet strength and unwavering loyalty, was his anchor, his confidant, the keeper of his secrets, and the solace for his soul. Their love story, however, was not without its challenges. James, driven by a sense of duty and a yearning for adventure, enlisted in the military, his heart torn between love for his country and the woman who held his heart captive. Carol, heartbroken yet resolute, promised to wait for him, their love a beacon of hope in the face of uncertainty. The years James spent away were etched in a palette of muted grays and blues, the colors of longing and loneliness. Letters, filled with words of love and yearning, became their lifeline, each one a cherished treasure that bridged the miles separating them. Carol poured her heart out in those letters, sharing her hopes, fears, and the mundane details of her days, making him feel like a part of her life even when he was miles away. James, in his letters, wrote of the harsh realities of war, of the camaraderie forged in the face of danger, and of his unwavering love for Carol, a love that sustained him through the darkest of nights. He sent her faded photographs of him and his comrades, of the desolate landscapes he encountered. Each image a poignant reminder of the sacrifices he was making, both for his country and for their future together. The day James returned home was a blur of joyous tears, relieved laughter, and the bittersweet realization that the war had changed him. He was haunted by the ghosts of battles fought and friends lost, his laughter tinged with a sadness that Carol couldn't quite reach. Still, their love, weathered but not broken, remained a constant, a testament to the enduring power of the human heart. Life slowly began to regain a semblance of normalcy. James, grappling with the invisible scars of war, found solace in Carol's unwavering love and support. They built a life together, their home filled with the laughter of their children, their days a tapestry woven with the threads of love, forgiveness, and the unspoken understanding that bound them together. Tiffany, their daughter, was the embodiment of their love. A bright, vivacious girl with her father's infectious grin and her mother's kind eyes. She was the sun in their solar system, her laughter the soundtrack to their lives, her happiness their greatest reward. As Tiffany blossomed into a young woman, her kindness, intelligence, and compassion shone through, making them prouder with each passing day. However, fate, it seemed, had a cruel twist in store for the Suar family. One ordinary evening, the unthinkable happened. Tiffany vanished without a trace. The silence that descended upon their home was deafening, the emptiness a gaping wound that refused to heal. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still there was no sign of Tiffany. The police, despite their best efforts, had no leads, their investigation hampered by dead ends and a frustrating lack of evidence. The weight of their powerlessness was a heavy burden to bear, their words of comfort ringing hollow in the face of such agonizing uncertainty. James, the war-hardened soldier, found himself brought to his knees by the pain of his daughter's disappearance. The once vibrant colors of their world faded to a dull gray as the agonizing reality of their loss sunk in. The laughter that once filled their home was replaced by a silence so profound that it was almost physical, a constant reminder of the gaping hole torn into the fabric of their lives. Their hopes dwindled with each passing day, replaced by a gnawing fear that whispered the unthinkable, that Tiffany might be gone forever. As months bled into years, a glimmer of hope emerged from the darkness. A witness came forward, their testimony unraveling a sinister plot that implicated a group of individuals with dubious backgrounds and questionable motives. The investigation, reinvigorated by this new lead, began to gain traction, uncovering a web of deceit, betrayal, and cold-blooded calculation that sent chills down the spines of even the most seasoned detectives. At the center of this web was a figure known only as Silas, a shadowy figure whispered to be involved in various illegal activities. Rumors about Silas were rife. Some whispered of his ruthlessness, others of his uncanny ability to disappear without a trace. He was a phantom, a whisper in the dark, pulling strings from the shadows, his motives as murky as his past. The accomplices, drawn into Silas's orbit through a combination of fear and greed, were a motley crew of desperate souls. There was Marcus, a small-time crook with a gambling problem, his desperation making him easy prey for Silas's manipulation. Then there was Lena, a woman scorned, her thirst for revenge blinding her to the consequences of her actions. Each player in this twisted game had their role, their actions driven by a toxic cocktail of desperation, greed, and the chilling realization that they were in over their heads. The more the investigators dug, the more tangled the web became, each thread leading them closer to the heart of the conspiracy, closer to the truth behind Tiffany's disappearance, and closer to the enigmatic figure of Silas. The courtroom buzzed with an electric tension, the air thick with anticipation. The trial, years in the making, had finally arrived, bringing with it a media frenzy and a palpable sense of anticipation. The eyes of the nation were on this small-town courtroom, everyone hungry for answers, for justice, for a resolution to the mystery that had captivated the nation for so long. The prosecution, led by the formidable District Attorney Margaret Bell, presented their case with meticulous precision. Each piece of evidence, each witness testimony was like a carefully placed stone, building a damning case against the accused. Their arguments were sharp,
their words chosen with surgical precision, their demeanor a blend of quiet confidence and righteous anger. The defense attorneys, a team known for their aggressive tactics and willingness to push boundaries, fought tooth and nail, employing every legal maneuver at their disposal to sow seeds of doubt in the minds of the jury. They challenged the validity of the evidence, questioned the credibility of witnesses, and painted a picture of a flawed investigation, riddled with inconsistencies and driven by a desire for a conviction rather than the truth. James and Carol, their faces etched with years of grief and uncertainty, sat stoically in the gallery, their eyes glued to the proceedings. Each revelation, each twist and turn of the legal battle was a fresh wound, a stark reminder of the nightmare they had endured. The courtroom, for them, became a battleground, a crucible where their hopes for justice were tested against the cold machinery of the legal system.
Days turned into weeks, the trial stretching on, a grueling marathon of legal arguments, witness testimonies, and dramatic cross-examinations. The jury, tasked with sifting through the mountain of evidence and conflicting narratives, deliberated for what felt like an eternity, their faces betraying nothing of their thoughts, their decision shrouded in secrecy. Finally, the long-awaited moment arrived. The courtroom fell silent, the air thick with anticipation as the jury filed back into their seats, their faces betraying nothing of the verdict they held in their hands. The foreman, his voice heavy with the weight of their decision, announced the verdict, guilty on all counts. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom, followed by a wave of relief, satisfaction, and a smattering of angry outbursts from the defendants' families. For the Suar family, the verdict brought a sense of closure, a bittersweet victory tinged with the painful knowledge that nothing could bring their beloved Tiffany back. The judge, his face a mask of professional detachment, handed down the sentences, his words echoing in the hushed courtroom. Justice, though delayed, had been served. The perpetrators of the heinous crime would pay for their actions, their freedom stripped away as a consequence of their choices. However, the true cost of their crimes, the immeasurable loss suffered by the Suar family, could never be truly quantified, never fully repaid. The trial concluded. The dust settled. Life, as it always does, moved on. However, the memory of Tiffany, her infectious laughter, her kind heart, continued to resonate. A beacon of light in the darkness. The case, a stark reminder of the vulnerability of innocence and the importance of vigilance, sparked a movement, a collective vow to protect the vulnerable and to hold perpetrators accountable. James and Carol, forever marked by the tragedy, channeled their grief into advocacy, becoming tireless crusaders for justice, their voices echoing in courtrooms and legislative halls, their story a poignant reminder of the human cost of indifference. They established a foundation in Tiffany's name, dedicated to supporting families of missing persons and advocating for stronger laws to protect the innocent. The legacy of Tiffany Suar extended far beyond the confines of the courtroom. It served as a stark reminder that justice, while often elusive and imperfect, was a fight worth waging. It highlighted the crucial role of community, of empathy, and of the unwavering pursuit of truth in the face of adversity. And so, the story of the Suar family served as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love in the face of unimaginable loss. It reminded us that while evil may lurk in the shadows, there is always light to be found in the courage of those who fight for justice, who refuse to let darkness extinguish the flame of hope. The fight for justice continues, fueled by the memory of Tiffany Suar and countless others like her, a testament to the enduring belief that every life has value, and every act of injustice deserves to be met with the unwavering pursuit of truth.